In our political panel, editor-in-chief of the Hotline for National Journal, Josh Kraushaar, CNN chief congressional correspondent Dana Bash, and CNN chief political analyst Gloria Borger. Gloria, these are not good numbers. As Barbie once said, math is hard, but these are not good numbers. Do you think going into the midterm elections, which we're starting to look at right now, any issue will mean as much as Obamacare and whether it's working or not working?
No, there's no issue that's going to touch it. Obviously, it's the issue, particularly since so far it's not working. Republicans are going to focus on, and I think that there is a secondary issue now, which is abuse of power, which is going to be a part of their campaign litany because of the whole nuclear option thing.
From the Republicans, accusing Democrats.
Accusing Democrats of abuse of power. But what the Obamacare plays into is this notion of big government doesn't work. And we're right about the size of government, say the Republicans, and this president is somebody who believes the government can solve all our problems, and we know that's not the case, and you shouldn't trust the government with your health care, and these Democrats can't be trusted because they're abusing their majority.
Josh, is there any empirical evidence yet that Obamacare will hurt a candidate? We saw very contradictory and mixed results in Virginia with the governor's race. How do you think it's going to affect the races, and is there any evidence to prove it will go one way or the other?
It should have a very significant impact on the Senate landscape, which is being fought in these red conservative states. Mary Landrieu's poll numbers, she's underwater in her approval rating for a poll that just came out today. She could possibly lose to a Republican, even though she looked in very good shape about a month or two ago. Al Franken came out for an individual mandate delay just this afternoon because he's looked like he was in pretty good shape in a blue state like Minnesota, but his poll numbers have taken a plunge. So any Democrat in a swing state, especially those in those red states, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alaska, they're going to have to really be concerned about their political future and when they start distancing themselves a little bit more from the health care law.
Dana, yesterday we did the show from Capitol Hill, and Senator Dan Coats, Republican from Indiana, said that he thought the whole thing, the whole filibuster reform and all that, bringing it down from 51 votes for the president's nominees, that was all just trying to change the subject. And the truth of the matter is, I don't hear anybody talking about it today.
Well, in part because the Senate's gone for 2 weeks, which I think Democrats may be lucky
True,
about.
But they do still have mouths.
They do still have mouths, and they somehow know how to find a microphone
exactly.
wherever they are. But to your point, you're right, that they're not talking about it right now. We'll see what happens, the ramifications when you get to big legislation, if they actually deign to bring up legislation, much less, bills to fund the government, which is sort of their basic function. But I think the point that he was making and that you all are making about Obamacare is key, because as much as Republicans are angry and calling it a power grab and Washington run amok, the biggest message that they have is that they're trying to change the subject from Obamacare, and they want to keep the subject on Obamacare for the reasons that you all just said.
Well, and by the way, they want to change the subject from the shutdown, because the shutdown over defunding Obamacare didn't exactly do well for them. So they were down, now they're up, and they want to talk about the problems that the president has had with Obamacare rather than this notion of defunding without replacing. And that's what the Democrats are going to be talking about is, okay, you want to get rid of it. Could you kind of tell us exactly what you want to replace it with?
I thought that after the election there would be a big move potentially for immigration reform. Yeah. We haven't really seen it. A few days ago I thought that Speaker Boehner had basically killed it with a stake through its heart. But then he said this.
The American people are skeptical of big, comprehensive bills, and frankly, they should be. And the only way to make sure immigration reform works this time is to address these complicated issues one step at a time.
That sounds more optimistic than the last comment he had made about this. It sounds like they might actually try to do something.
It seems like he was throwing a little olive branch out there, just like the president did this week. But boy, he has such a conservative caucus, and you talk to any of the folks who gave him such a hard time with the government shutdown, gave him a hard time on immigration before. I just don't see the votes being there, and I don't think Republicans want to have this divisive fight over immigration internally when they have the health care issue that they're unified by.
And that's why he threw it out, I think, because the president did throw out an olive branch. How can a Republican speaker whose party lost so big in the last election not say at least that he's trying, at least say he's trying? We know that they're not going to do it this year. Next year, an election year, probably not. But you said that we didn't see a lot of movement. We actually did see movement in the Senate.
In the Senate we did.
And look what happened. Marco Rubio got completely trounced by the base. and attacked by the base because of the fact that he pushed it.
And here's where the big government argument comes in, because if you want to say, okay, we have to secure the border first, well, who's going to secure the border? Government.
Government.
Do you trust government to do it?
Wah, wah.
Yeah, not so much.
Josh, Gloria, thank you.